Well, greetings, folks. What's going on? It's Mike from LiveMyAssOff.com. I haven't figured out if you can hear me through the shotgun mic with the windscreen on it, the dead cat. But I'm going to figure that out in a second. I'm basically on my Huawei phone tethered to the to Wi-Fi on my other phone. And during a speed test before I did all this, I was getting like 30 up and 60 down. But again, I'm here, and I'll show you exactly where I am here in a second. And hey, it's good to see you, buddy. Thanks a lot for coming by. Dave, how's everything going? Again, I'm not sure how well this is going to work, but I like trying new stuff, as you know. So we'll see what kind of audio I get from this. I'm basically in a swing, and that's why I stopped here, because I haven't swung on a swing underneath a palm tree in a while. The waves are amazing, and so anyway, I thought, well, hey, I should share this with you. That sounds fine. Now, of course, I'm going to have a friend here in a minute. How you doing? Are you going to like chew my tripod? Anyway, hold on. I'm just curious. Let me see. Did that like? Is the audio coming from here? Ah, what do you know? It is outstanding. This is basically what I paid for. And then with any luck, I'll be able to watch the comments here, so I don't have to strain, look way over there. But it sounds like you guys can hear me okay. And as you know, I'm a mild fan of that. Hey Ron, good to see you, buddy. Hey, so before I forget, I want to thank you guys for the super chats yesterday. I went back to that restaurant today, and they were really thankful. What ended up happening for the money that you gave, I mean, some of the money obviously went to Rob's beer, because that's what you instructed us to do. But other portions of it, we gave $500, sorry. We gave 500 baht tip to the young lady who was Rob's friend who was serving us, Kun Suai. And then we gave 700 baht to basically the restaurant as a tip for our bill, which because we asked earlier that it would be distributed through all of the staff, because again, they were very nice to us, and they were also ridiculously nice when I came back today. I mean, obviously that probably doesn't shock you, but you know, I believe it was actually quite genuine, and they were really, I had breakfast there and everything, so I put money in their pocket again, even though I didn't do a live stream from there. And so let me just get rid of some stuff here, and let me make sure that I can watch the comments as they come up. Okay, good. So there's not much of a delay, which is great. These waves, now again, I'm on a phone, okay? So I'm pretty confident you can hear the waves, you can hear that white noise. Glad to hear that Farang. Oh, Thailand Tim, let me tell you something. Well, what's interesting, I mean, considering your YouTube handle or your channel name, Thailand Tim, I really hope that you haven't, I don't want to put you in a group, but I really hope you aren't one of the several people that I've seen on social media or in videos or whatever, tell stories of how they don't believe that they were really treated well. And, you know, because that stinks. I get treated really well wherever I go in Thailand. I don't know if I really got treated poorly in the US. I would say that overall, like, without having to sort of justify it, meaning it's like, I'm in your restaurant, you should treat me well. That seemed like more of a chore in the United States to try and be treated well, if you will. Anyway, so that's just my experience. But I will tell you that is what happened last night. That is what happened today. Interestingly enough, when I got here and I was just like sort of driving around for the first few hours, I was like, wow, everyone's like really nice here. And I said something to Rob, and he said, oh yeah, he says, because I mean, I'm from Bangkok is what I almost said. I mean, I'm living in Bangkok. I came down here from Bangkok. And you know, it's just a little bit more rapid paced and a little bit more process and procedure and that sort of thing. Trust me, I still get smiles. And the guy that is the guard in the lobby when I leave, he stands up and salutes me. And I'm the only guy that responds. I mean, it's very bizarre. Like, all the Thais just like walk right, not just the Thais, but pretty much everyone else. And usually when I'm walking out, there are Thais in front of me. So again, I don't know whether that's just like, oh yeah, they just, you know, they're busy, they're on their phone, they're going to work, a lot of people in the morning. And so anyway, I say hi to the guard. And now, like, when I come out, he like stands up straight, you know, and does this. And I don't know whether he just, you know, he does it because he's like, oh, cool, this guy usually says hi to me, and this will be a friendly moment in my life as a guard sitting here that basically gets no attention paid to him by the standard patrons. And so, anyway, I fit here real well. I have friends that have lived and worked in Bangkok for 3, 4, 5 years, and they're a little soured on what's going on here. But they're doing business here, and, you know, let's be fair, like, I'm kind of soured on the whole higher education system in the United States. I only worked at one university, but when you work at a university, you do a lot of collaboration with a whole bunch of other universities. And there's a significant amount of hypocrisy and that sort of thing. Just like anywhere else, just like any other corporation, you sit there and you think, oh my God, how did that loser get to the VP spot or whatever, right? You know, or oh my God, I really wish this guy beneath me on the org chart would be seen by the the higher ups and get the promotion that he or she deserves. They should really give him more training, you know, whatever. It's always imperfection everywhere, right? And that's one of the reasons I come here. Because I get a whole lot of perfect here, and I think I saw the surf is big, dude. It's really big. I would not get into it, and again, there's probably a very good reason why there's multiple red flags, you know, in the sand, pretty much so frequently that there's no way you can miss one. Like, even if you are only nearsighted, you know, you can see the next one that's available. They're not really behind me, but let me show you, let me do one of these, and I'll spin around and I'll show you guys over there what I'm talking about. So there's that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. And you know, I mean, it's pretty windy. I think you can still get that even though I have the dead cat on. But yeah, it's spectacular. Hold on, can I zoom in if I do this? Yeah, cool, let me do that. And let me see if I can get some better. I'm trying to not use a ton of, oh well. Well, that was imperfect, but yeah, it's gorgeous. So now I'm back, up. There we go. There we go, and I'm back on my swing. And I did it this way because the sun is actually over there, and I wanted to get a little bit on my face, and I kind of wanted to have actually all of that I just showed you over there with the red flags in the background. But the silhouette action, even though I got palm tree for shade, you know, I'll tell you, one of the more enjoyable times I've ever had at a beach, was in Boracay, sitting there underneath a palm tree. It was very hot, with Gracie and her sister. Obviously, it was one of the first times, it was the first time I ever met her sister, and it was probably the second or third time I had ever hung out with her. And they're like, oh, we're at the beach, come join us. And so of course I'm walking down the beach, and where am I looking? I'm looking underneath where the sun is, thinking, oh, well, they're probably laying out, like getting a tan, right? Even though I'd already been to Thailand and other countries in Southeast Asia a couple times before I went to the Philippines, but nonetheless, I'm walking around and I look over and there's like palm trees, right? And there's all this shade and they're laying underneath there, and I'm like, okay, so that was bizarre. The only thing I can think of is that my screen just went like away, and what I believe I've had the ability to do is rejoin the current stream, but I don't know that for sure. I think I'm live right now, and it tells me that there's 7 of you watching, and I've got about 5 thumbs up. That's outstanding. That's decent market penetration, isn't it? But you know, I'll double check this thing here again. Okay, well, good. So then I'm back high. What happened was it flashed, the phone flashed, and it said, system update available. Would you like to update now? And I'm like, no. So I hit the later button, so with any luck that will happen now. And you know, it's interesting. So I go to a lot of places in Thailand where the majority of the people that are going to be there and use things, for example, are Thai. And because of that, things are at Thai height. So like when I go to a public market, I pretty much have to duck under every single umbrella because otherwise my head would hit the thing, because they put the umbrellas up where it would be probably, you know, anywhere from 6 inches to a foot above their head. Well, I'm taller than the average Thai. But the cool part about this swing is that I'm sitting here, and when I sit on the swing, my legs do not touch the ground. So this is farang height off the sand, and I can actually, you know, swing. I'm not getting a whole lot of fulcrum with this install, but oh boy, it's certainly nice. And you know, I drove up and I thought, okay, well, there's a gentleman behind me, but I believe I'm talking this way, so I hope I'm not bothering him. The wind is significant enough. There were some young folks over there, and they were like, you know how the Thais would like come somewhere and they just lay down a mat and they all like hang out and eat and talk and everything. They were doing that over there. And then they got up and walked away, and of course my immediate thought was, oh my God, I'm like yelling, well, maybe I am yelling directly at them. But it's not like they moved like 30 feet away. And in fact, as they were doing it, you know, I guess they I think the boys like started tickling the girls or something, whatever it was, and they, you know, they started laughing and making more noise than I am right now. So I thought, okay, I'm good. So anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate the updates on the live. The picture was just running around the beach trying to find a Wi-Fi bar. Yeah, absolutely. I grabbed the tripod. I'm like, who's got Wi-Fi? How many coconut shakes can I buy if you let me use your internet, please? I'm sure you're happier to be there than California, indeed. Biggest infection rate in the US right now in that state. Are you kidding me? Now by that, do you mean total number of people, or is it percentage? Because I mean, you know, at the end of the day, obviously, you know, there's more people in California than Canada. But, you know, I mean, I guess, you know, they don't really measure it per square foot or whatever, but I understand what you're saying, yeah. And I guess my buddy told me, I think it was last week, total number, yeah, that makes sense, Tim. My buddy told me that they like locked down California again. I believe that was his statement in a message to me the other day. And I was just like, oh boy, that's a bummer. Ron says I chatted on one of his pre-recorded videos and wondered why I was the only one commenting. You're talking about the premiere? You know what's interesting about premieres is, like, you know, when I do make some videos, I mean, obviously I've been really into this whole live thing lately, and I love that you guys come by. I'm very honored. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You know, I will walk around and make videos, and I kind of like the walk and talk things. And so I do those and then I upload them, and then, but like selfishly, I kind of want to have some interaction with you guys, and so that's why I make them premieres. But I know that it's almost as if I'm like deceiving you, you know, saying, hey, I mean, it says premiere, but at the end of the day, you're having this sort of experience where there's the chat on the right-hand side, and then there's the video, and I'm interacting with you guys. And so, anyway, believe me, I really hope you're not interpreting that as me trying to deceive you, like, oh, I'm not live, but I'm making these guys think I am. It's certainly for selfish reasons that I can talk to you guys. So, but yeah, I know how that happens, Ron. It's kind of funny, right? New lockdown coming soon, Tim. Oh boy. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess I hope, you know, the previous one gave you some experience to be able to do this one better. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, you know, for me here, it's like I discovered all the places that I can have food delivered, and I figured out how to like do my laundry and get water, and you know, all the delivery services basically that I use, so I don't have to necessarily physically go outdoors. You know, as you might guess, I'm grateful that I can, and that's, you know, that's a ridiculous understatement, I'm sure, from where you're potentially sitting. And so that's a real bummer. And I don't know what to do. I think I mentioned to you guys, it was over the course of like 2 or 3 days, but every single one of my buddies, and they were in California, one of them was in Florida, but they all said literally almost exactly the same sentence, which is like, I am so glad you aren't here, Mikes. You know, because you would be, ooh, that almost like slipped. I wonder if this is gonna, there's a finite number of strands on this one. This wasn't installed this week. This has had some weather on it. And anyway, so yeah, I mean, I am. I'm glad I'm not there. I'm saddened that you are, though. So anyway. Tim asks, any intel there on Westerners will be free to fly in without restriction? Well, without restriction, I don't think anyone, even Easterners, are going to be able to fly in here without restriction. I mean, you know, if you're from Europe or that sort of thing, I think it's actually going to be based on country. And, you know, I mean, look, the way that Thailand touts it now, they've had, you know, like over 70 days without a domestic case, meaning that the only positively tested people for COVID have been people that have like entered the country, and you enter the country and you get tested, and then, you know, they get the results and they're like, look, dude, you're from Egypt, like or you've come in from this other country, or you've come in from Singapore, or you're like a bunch of migrant workers that we brought in from Myanmar, and now you guys have to all hang out for 2 weeks. So it's not like people that are like me. In other words, if they were to test me, and if I were to be positive, then that would be basically a domestic case, because I've been here since November. Wouldn't that be funny? But anyway, we'll see. What's the worst thing that could happen? You guys would laugh hysterically. Well, that wouldn't be the worst thing. That would probably be the best thing. The worst thing would be I land on my tailbone, and then I basically put up my fingers in the symbol of 911. I'm like, can you guys help me? Can you guys send a message to Rob and have him come over to SURIN Beach and get me? But yeah, that was all right. It was kind of exciting. So the intel I have is that the people that I respect and trust that have been business people over here, so attorneys, CEOs of tech companies, that sort of thing, they are regularly referring to November as the day when international travel might resume, not the day when people from, you know, sadly fairly infected countries are going to be let in with no restrictions. As I mentioned in the video, maybe it's actually not the one that I published yet. I'm publishing another one like tonight or tomorrow morning, something like that, because I wanted to have it for you guys in the US when you wake up tomorrow morning. And then I figured I'd be doing a live thing today so we could chat on this. But you know, I was talking about, like, at the end of the day, I mean, I think the way you're going to travel internationally, like before it was like, okay, I got my passport and I got my credit card, boom, I'm done. I think it's going to be those things, as well as like fit to fly certificates, 100,000 US dollars in insurance that covers COVID for your entire trip in wherever you're going. You know, you potentially may need to have an unlocked phone that you can put a SIM in from the local country so that you can use the QR code and check in everywhere you go in. You know, over here, that's like what I do. Like, I go somewhere, and if I enter a mall, there's someone there, and they scan your head with the device. It tells you your outside body temperature. If it's over 37.5 degrees Celsius, then they basically make you sit down, or, you know, don't let you come in. So there's that one scenario, and then there's a QR code. And you scan that and you click on and it opens a website, and you click on the green thing, which is basically you're entering and you're notifying them that you're entering. Here it's called Taiwan, which is Thai, W-O-N. In other words, Taiwan. Like, they won against this thing. That's all the promotion that's around here. It's awesome. I mean, it's very like, look, we're gonna win. I just drove down here and there was a giant banner for Fantasy. If you guys have ever been to Phuket or KAMALA, Fantasy is like this elephant show thingy that. Anyway, so their big banner, of course, they're closed right now. Or not, of course, but they are closed right now. And their giant banner in front of their place that normally advertises for them says, "We will get through this together," kind of thing, in English and in Thai. And I mean, so like the Thais are on board. Like, they really, and you know, you could argue. I've argued before that, you know, you can't argue with the results, right? And so anyway. Aztec says, I really haven't heard justification for not just letting everyone get it already and get it over with, in my opinion, in my humble, frustrated opinion. Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, that's something to be said. In other words, like, I don't know about all of your countries, but like where I grew up in the U.S., or, you know, because I know there's some guys from Germany, and anyway, the point is, when you're a little kid, one of the sort of like expectations is that ideally before about 14 or 15, you get the chicken pox. Like, it's really important that you get the chicken pox, because if for whatever reason you're on the, you know, trailing edge of the bell curve, and you get chicken pox when you're like 21, 27, you know, I mean, apparently it's incredibly painful. Now, it's annoying enough when you're a kid and you're scratching like crazy. I mean, I got some on my feet, so I actually had to crawl around on my knees because I had so many things on my feet that, you know, I mean, they went away 3 or 4 days later. Calamine lotion, you know. My buddy Steve, he got some in his mouth, you know, I mean, but again, like 2 weeks later, you're like over this thing. It's kind of like, yeah, Mike, 2 weeks later, you're over this COVID thing, right? And you really want your kids to get it. There's no vaccine. You get it and then you never get it again. In theory, I mean, there's about, you know, 0.001% of the people that maybe get a second time, but, you know, that's a great paradigm. That's how the world basically, you know, lives with the chicken pox. It's not how they live with smallpox. So it's not just all pox, oh, Rike just uploaded a video, by the way. He says, oh, he's doing a preview, I guess. So anyway, how long can we kill the economy of every Western nation? Well, it's not just every Western, it's all of them, right? I mean, dude, India is in bad shape. And I mean, you know, look, there were people dying because they don't have food and water like last July in India. So I mean, it's a tough thing. Hey doctor, good to see you, man, and thank you so much for your comment from Hawaii. He posted a comment that he doesn't normally watch full-length videos at 2 a.m. Mike, but he got up, I guess he was middle of the night or end of his shift kind of thing, and watched the live stream of Rob and I yesterday. That was a ton of fun, guys. I really wish Rob wasn't such a lazy bum today, but I'm on vacation. Maybe I'll be a lazy bum tomorrow, but he literally sent me a message about 30 minutes ago, and he's like, oh man, I'm just being lazy today. What are you doing? I said, well, I'm over at SURIN Beach, and I'm doing a live stream, so swing by if you want. So I don't know if he will, but yeah, that was a ton of fun. Man, some of these waves are just like so big. I mean, they're not like, to be fair, like to ERMD, to the doctor, they're not Hawaii big, okay? So I'm not at Jaws like right now. I mean, they're not, you know, but they're nice, they're impressive. I love it. It's like the same reason I like energetic rain. I like really tall waves, and you know, because there's energy with them. You know, there's energy behind them. And anyway, so the doctor says new lockdown coming to Hawaii of all places has been wildly successful, and we have only 1.5% infection rate, but about 30 to 50 new cases a day. Okay, so you have 30 to 50 new cases a day. How many new cases do you have in your ER? And how many of those people are you able to say, well, right, Mike, we have 30 to 50 every single day. And between 50 and 100 people survive it, and we get notified of those people every day, or whatever, you know. I mean, I know you've had, you know, a certain number of deaths. We all have, right? But that's amazing that and so they're looking at a quarantine for you, a lockdown, really, in Hawaii. I mean, the last I heard is that they were going to let people in August, and then the last I heard was they're going to let people in September, but you're going to have to do a 14-day quarantine. I mean, we're talking about like residents with IDs that have property there that are like visiting somewhere else in the U.S. and they're flying home. So, but doctor says I don't like politics, but I predict there will be a vaccine released in October, just ahead of the U.S. elections. The writing is on the wall. Yeah, that's possible. I mean, I believe that he also said, well, I want to have this done by Easter. I mean, I don't know whether he's a devout Catholic, but, you know, I don't know what the deal was with that. I don't know what the reason being that date that came in. You know, maybe he went for Easter sales in all of the malls. I mean, I don't know, but again, let me just be clear, doctor, I'm not disputing what you say. In fact, of all the people that I would trust with data, I would definitely look to people in the medical profession. So thank you for sharing that, but when you say that, do you mean that they will have some degree of trials that they'll announce, you believe, like at the end of August or September? Like, as a medical professional, do you get updates like that, like before we do? Like, in other words, does it get injected in the Journal of Medicine, like not necessarily New England Journal of Medicine, but is there some sort of professional publication that all of you guys subscribe to, and they let you know that ahead of time so that you can be like, okay, so in 2 weeks, there's gonna be a rush on aspirin or whatever. And then as an ER doctor, you're like, okay, better make sure all my nurses know how to deploy some aspirin or whatever, you know, I don't know. I'm just kind of curious about, you know, all the different verticals that people are in. Medical, you know, oil and gas is always sort of interesting. But Tim says November makes sense because that's the start of the high season, yeah, for travel, right? Well, you know what's interesting? That's totally the way I looked at it. I was like, okay, well, when I started coming over here like 7 years ago, November, it would start going up, and then basically by Thanksgiving, between Thanksgiving and like mid-January, it was like full-on peak season. And people that have been living over here, Rob and other people like over in Pattaya, people in Bangkok, they've been saying, no, dude, like peak, peak season. I mean, high season, they're saying sometimes doesn't even start till December. Peak season wasn't even starting until like a week before Christmas and then a week after New Year's. And I'm like, wow. I mean, there's a number of businesses over here that, at least the way I interpreted them when I first started coming over here, is they rely on a high season of at least 3 months, November, December, January, effectively, and then there's a downturn, February, March-ish, and then comes Songkran. It's like full tilt boogie for about 2 weeks. Now, in between the end of January and the beginning of Songkran, there's usually Chinese New Year, right? And so there's that like 10 days, basically, where they can really ramp up, sales, obviously, for a number of Chinese, Vietnamese, that sort of thing. And Vietnam has a high season around then too. So, but yeah, I've heard it's been decreasing. Tim says, so places like Bangalore Road, are they empty or are there some tourists floating around? So when I was there yesterday for my brief install, I spoke with several white guys, younger than me. I would say they're probably mid-30s, maybe 40, and they mentioned that they live there. And they've been to Bangalore Road, and he's like, no, dude, he says, this place, he said, I thought it would be totally empty, but like, Friday night and Saturday night, he says, you go to the clubs, he says, you see everyone you already know. There's like no tourists. He said, but they're packed. I mean, like the big clubs are like really, packing them in. He says it starts about 8 or 9 o'clock. I was like, wow. And then of course he said, well, but tonight's Monday, like there's not gonna be anyone here. I was trying to convince Rob to cruise down to Bangalore last night, but of course, he and I were like walking around, did the live stream, and he was having a couple beers, and so that wasn't happening. I mean, we could have taken a grab if we were really up to it, but, I go to bed, or I go to sleep by about 10. I was up a little later than normal last night, by about 10:30, just like editing a video that we watched this morning. I was trying to get all that uploaded, actually, because for some reason my Dropbox account was not syncing properly. Ron says, if you ever get chickenpox, then in later years the virus turns to shingles, which they now have a vaccine for. If you ever get chickenpox, really? Okay, so Ron and potentially the doctor, like, is it not then sort of the desire of most parents for their children to get chickenpox when they're young so they won't ever get it again? Am I completely delusional? And, again, yeah, I'm 52, so like, yes, Mike, 35 years ago, that's what happened. And 35 years ago, the world was in black and white, so get with the program, but... Doctor says only about 30 patients hospitalized throughout the state. And I would assume the majority of them are at Oahu, right? I mean, that's, wow. Still under 30 deaths total. You guys are rocking it. That's, congratulations, man. They just started phase 3 trials. Good to know, thank you. Likely take about 60 to 90 days to start seeing results from the trials, fair enough. They've already fast-tracked it through production, fortunately or unfortunately, yeah. There's a lot of momentum behind it. Yeah, I understand why there would be, right? I mean, again, regardless of the political climate, right? I mean, yes, that's probably fueling it as well. But, I mean, there's a certain degree of desperation, I think, that's happening globally, like you said. I mean, look, when I walk out to, like, get on my motorbike to, like, just cruise up here, you guys have been to Thailand before, and you know that, people of my vintage and complexion, when I walk down the street alone, one of the more common verbs I'll hear is massage, right? And so that occurs now. But imagine there's like 40 girls, like, massage parlor, like one after another, like between the time I like leave the entrance to my hotel and just walk to the 7-Eleven, which is maybe 100 meters, not even that. It's almost like audio dominoes. Like it just goes from one girl to the next as I like walk by. Some of them will try and come up with something cute or whatever. Some of them will just like look in front of their phone and say, massage, and they're just like, this guy, because I'm not making eye contact and I don't want a massage, and they've probably, seen guys like me enough to realize, okay, this isn't his first time here. He actually knows how to ride a motorbike on the left, and so he's probably familiar with Thailand to some degree, and you know, for the most part, you're not going to vacation in KAMALA unless you're kind of in and around here. You know, you're going to vacation in Patong, right? And so I like to think I don't look like a newbie. You know, so they're probably like, well, I'll ask him if he wants a massage, but if he comes, that would be great, but I doubt it, you know. And so to that point, you know, I mean, I can see the desperation. And you know, I was in Samui. I'm gonna get some water. I was in Koh Samui, and I got a massage from a girl, and she's like, "You're my only customer today." And it was like 7 or 8. It was just after sunset. So, you know, but she said, I don't know why it's disconnecting and reconnecting. It tells me I'm live now, and as you know, I'm not going to belabor it, but I'm sorry. Aztec says to doctor, I've been waiting for one single report that once someone contracts it naturally, they are then immune. Can you comment on that? And he says, every child is getting a zoster vaccine now. Chickenpox is going to be a disease of the past. Oh, very good. Thank you for that update. I appreciate that. And he also says, and I'll get to your comment too, Tim. I'm just skipping down to the answers. The doctor says it's not clear how infectious the vaccine will be. I'm a bit worried it'll be like the flu vaccine and it's not really that effective. Phase 1 trials claim the antibody response is similar to those who have caught the virus. Yeah, I mean, I get, like I've mentioned to you guys before, like I got the flu shot because like I would be seeing my doctor during some point of the year and he's like, oh, have you got the flu shot? I'm like, no. He's like, okay, well then he like presses a button on the, on hyperspace by Epic. I mean, I don't know what you guys use for your medical record system, your EMR, electronic medical record system there at, in Hawaii, but Kaiser used Epic, and I know a lot about Epic because the infrastructure that it ran on, that it was certified to run on, was this very incredibly expensive world-class IT infrastructure that I started a user group for. So anyway, I got to meet the guys with Epic, if you know what that is. But anyway, it's the computer where your stuff is, guys. And you know, I would walk outside and there would be a, you know, nurse standing there because I guess she was alerted, and then she would go over to like the fridge and she would, you know, do the whole thing and then bam into my arm, which would hurt for about another, you know, 6 hours afterwards. But you know, and I never had any bad side effects and I never got the flu. I guess that's the reason. I guess I can blame my success on the vaccine of that, but I'm told like either it's only 45% effective or only 45% of the population of the United States gets it, or, you know, or only 45% of the people, you know, use it and then go get an ice cream cone. I don't know what I heard, but Tim says, when I first visited Thailand, I partied so hard that I never slept before 4 a.m. Didn't see daylight for a week. Yeah, I can completely relate to that, Tim. When I first got to Thailand, I landed and I was, the first place I went to, other than my hotel in Sukhumvit, was I walked around the corner to Sukhumvit 3 or 4, or I can't remember which one it is, I think it's 4, but basically the entrance to Nana Plaza. And I walked down there about 2:30 in the morning when all the bars were letting out, and I'm like, oh, I mean, you know, and all the girls were letting out, and they, you know, the ones that were standing there, like talking to their friends, and of course eating the best food in the world, made on the sidewalk in Thailand. I got quite a bit of attention within my first hour there, and so I'm like, okay, well, yeah, it's 2:30 here, but you know, I mean, I guess I better check this out because I had only planned on being in Bangkok for like 5 days, and then I was going to cruise down to Pattaya for like 2 weeks. And you know, and I was overwhelmed with stimulation anxiety, or not stimulation anxiety, but overwhelmed with stimuli, let's just say that. Standing in front of Nana Plaza for the first time in my life. There is no Nana Plaza in the United States. There is no Soy 6 in the world. There's no Pattaya. You know, there's Soy 7, there's Soy 8, there's that sort of thing. I don't know, you could argue that there's a couple of replicas of Soy Cowboy, but anyway, yeah, I know what you mean, dude. I stayed up big time. And anyway, doctor, thank you so much for that input. I really appreciate it. Ron says to the doctor, that is good news because I had pox as a child, partial shingles as an adult. Just before the vaccine was released, I would not wish shingles on my worst enemy. Epic is the premier EMR, indeed, yeah. We're using probably the second most common system in my hospital. There are trackers that alert the medical staff about vaccine status and other things that need updating. So that's cool. So you guys, that's great. So you can kind of like prep the ER, I guess. Really, that's very cool, man. Tim says, I had a friend whose company who compares Nana to Vegas. Does it compare? What's your opinion? Tim, hold on. I mean, you said that, but in a previous statement, you're like, dude, you came to Thailand, you partied so hard, you were up till 4 a.m. Are you just asking me for my opinion, or, I mean, dude, okay. I love people who say that Las Vegas is Sin City. If you've been to Thailand, and you've been to places like Nana Plaza and Pattaya, that sort of thing, Las Vegas is the country fair compared to getting a free pass to go to Disney World and Epcot Center and Universal Studios once a week for the rest of your life. Vegas is ridiculous. I won't give you a ton of details, but I will tell you that after being in Thailand twice, I had a conference in Las Vegas, and while I was there, I tried to basically replicate, let's say, an experience or similar experiences that I had when I was in Las Vegas. This was not my money because it was another company that was funding an entire party. It wasn't just me they were giving literally thousands of dollars to have a good time. But after $2,500, it was ridiculous. I mean, let me just say this. There's no follow-through in Las Vegas, if you guys know what I mean by that. There's a significant amount of follow-through in Thailand. And, all I can tell you is, well, I see Aztec's response. Vegas, laugh out loud, no. Vegas has gotten to be like Disneyland now. It absolutely is, dude. They make less money on gambling than they do on other venues like, here's what I love about Las Vegas and why I was psyched to have Gracie there with me. I wanted her to see it and experience it because, again, it is ridiculous, right? I mean, especially the Strip and the gigantic resorts and everything. I like Cirque du Soleil shows, and the other nice thing about being there, like basically being there on the company, if you will, not necessarily USD, but these other companies that I would represent, I'd be like, hey, I want to go to Cirque du Soleil tonight. And they're like, okay, Mike, so you don't drink alcohol, and we just basically paid for bottle service that costs $25,000 at excess. So yeah, I think we can afford to buy you and Gracie $250, ooh, worth of tickets to go sit like within arm's reach of all the performers at Love by the Beatles. So go have a good time. Because, you're hanging out here with us at our reserved table. This isn't your gig, clearly. Let's go make sure you have fun. And so, we were able to do that. So I love the shows there. The food is ridiculously expensive, and for the quality of it, I don't think. I mean, the best steaks I've had probably cost about $175. And I wasn't paying for it. There's absolutely no way I would forget it. So that's a total ripoff. And then, as you can imagine, after I had been over here for a while and been to the Philippines and had Gracie in my life a while, and she and I had started planning for our future, she and I show up in Las Vegas, and my business partners, effectively, who are on the board, they take us to dinner, and Gracie looks at the prices, and she's like, she could enjoy it. I mean, we had a salad that cost $36. I mean, she was just like, and I said, look, I know. Look, I swear to you, it is not my money. It is not our money. It's a credit card. I'm going to get reimbursed. There's going to be an expense report. But I would buy like a Snickers bar or something at the the shop right down in the, I used to stay at Venetian Palazzo a lot. Snickers bar is like $5.75. I mean, it's ridiculous. I used to love these little like square banana things with like vanilla icing on them, banana cake with vanilla icing on them. And I think those were like $5, I think a milk was like $6.50. I mean, it's just ridiculous, the cost, So yeah, it's like Disneyland. I'll tell you, Gracie and I went to Disneyland. We did not have a great experience there. We did not have a Disney experience there for sure. And we did the whole like, you time it and you do the passes, so you have to wait the least amount of time in the lines and everything. And we really liked SeaWorld. We had a really good time at SeaWorld. There weren't a whole lot of lines. There weren't a whole lot of people. We still went there on a weekend. And, you know, but, and in fact, we went to Disneyland. I think we went during the week. We took Amtrak up to Anaheim from San Diego. It's been a while. I wonder if this is going to refresh again and like dump out. I hope it doesn't, but it seems like it's been around at that time. Vegas is, yeah, well, after how many beers, right? Yeah, no, totally. There is no comparison. There is zero. I mean, it is literally the infamous night and day. And Ron says they have made Vegas family friendly. They have. I mean, dude, you know, before, like, they would police the casinos, and if you walked in, like, with your child or a baby stroller, they'd be like, whoa, 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 you gotta leave. And now they just see you coming, and they're like, oh, come this way. And they parade you past through, you know, and all the kids are looking at all the lights and the sounds and everything of all the slot machines, and they go right to, you know, the shows where the kids can have fun, or the restaurants that are ridiculously overpriced. And you know, they walk past a significant amount of secondhand smoke. And I think I told you guys occasionally when I would go to Las Vegas, I would smoke when I was there with my buddy David. And I didn't, obviously, when I was there with Gracie. And for the most part, the last few times I went, I'm just not into it, dude. I like hanging out with you, and it's a neat thing we used to do, but because he always used to buy Lucky Strikes and use a Zippo lighter, and he would like flick it and make the noise. But I don't know, it was just silly stuff that we used to do. Anyway, so I'll tell you what, this approximately 3-inch diameter piece of wood, that, you know, a branch from a tree that I'm sitting on, makes me acutely aware of how much padding I do not have in my seat. Ron says, I've seen more sin at the beach than in Sin City. Copy that. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, there is some talent in Vegas, but again, I mean, unless you've got an unlimited amount of money. I mean, so we went to this gentleman's club, okay? Because that's what guys do in Vegas, right? And it was funny too, because again, by that time I'd been to Thailand a couple times, and I was like, okay, well, whatever. I mean, I've been through the whole process. The novelty hasn't certainly worn off, and I was single, but I was like, whatever. And so we're hanging out at this place, and again, you know, we're in a, like, you know, bottle service. We're in like a red velvet ropes around our tent, and we have a guy with like a earpiece, and he's like standing at the entrance, and of course there's gorgeous girls standing there, and all you got to do is look up at them and make contact, and they rush over to you, and if you say, yeah, I'd like something to drink, they bring it over like on their arm, and there's like sparklers coming out of it and all of this, and oh good, it was only $2,500 for that bottle of champagne. And I'm like, yeah, so like, can I get a Diet Coke, like a Red Bull or something? I'm like, oh cool, there's Fiji water. $17 for a bottle of Fiji water, right? So it's like, okay, whatever. But the point is that I turned around, and one of my buddies, he was a little tipsy or whatever, and he's like, dude, you want to go, hey, we're gonna head over to, you know, this one stage, right? I'm like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, okay, there I'm live again, so I don't know why it does that, but I guess it seems like, hopefully, guys, I know how to get back on track here without you being too disappointed. So I appreciate you sticking around. Thank you for the 20 guys here. Thank you for the 9 thumbs up. I really appreciate it. That's like totally awesome. And again, thank you guys so much for the super chats you did yesterday. It was blowing me away, man. That was really cool. I couldn't believe how many thumbs up we got. I mean, you know, look at Rob's popular. He's got 57,000 subs. So I get that, you know. And I love the fact that we're buddies, but I also really appreciate and, you know, really love the fact that he brings over his crew, you know, and so, you know, and that brought over some money, and that's really neat because we were able to make, you know, this girl smile and the rest of the staff smile, and pay for his beer, because I would not necessarily want to fund beer for anybody, really. You know, I don't mind buying my buddies a beer kind of thing, you know, but I'm like, you know, it was neat that I didn't have to use my own money to buy Rob's beer. Let's just say that. And trust me, it's not like he's like, oh my God, Mike, can you loan me money for beer? I'm not going, it's not that at all. Okay, so anyway. Tim says, thanks for those views. Guess I can cross Vegas off the list for places to see. Yeah, Tim, I mean, again, look, here's the deal. The only time I would go to Las Vegas is if it was someone else paying. And the only reason I would go to Las Vegas is if there was a convention and I was going there basically for some kind of work-related thing, because I hate Las Vegas. It was horrible. I did not have a good time there. Doctor says to Tim, Vegas is a must-see, go for the shows, but it's not like Patti or Bangkok. Actually, that's more of an appropriate response. Thank you, Doctor. Just go there with realistic expectations, right? I mean, you're gonna, yeah, so that's actually probably more of a better summary. Ron says, I like the old days when coins would drop out of the slot machines, the screaming along in the winds, but now the sounds are all electronic and the machine spits out a paper receipt. Okay, so I want to finish my story. So anyway, so we're in this gentleman's club. My buddy's drinking a little bit. He reaches out, he says, hey, we're going to go over to this. I'm like, okay. So they had chips at this place. You weren't like, you know, throwing dollar bills at the entertainers. So anyway, so he gives me a whole bunch of chips, you know, that you use to, like, you know, pay the entertainers. And he scans me a handful of it, and I looked at it, it's $2,500 worth. I'm like, Brian. He's like, don't worry about it, man. Have a great time. We had a great quarter, you know, kind of thing. And you know, I mean, again, if it's someone else's money, especially if it's chips, because it's like that. I mean, that's play money, right? You know, so. Anyway, and again, it wasn't mine, but I was also keenly aware of the only reason that salesperson effectively had the ability to give me that amount of money based on the profit that he made is because the stuff that he sold me had a gargantuan markup that, you know, again, I wasn't paying for it. My company was paying for it, and I always used to get USD ridiculous deals and stuff. But nonetheless, you know, the markup probably could have been less. Because, I mean, if you're hanging out and partying with the Amazon guys, they don't throw around their money like that. They're very appropriate. Yeah. Tim says, how long are you down in Phuket for? What's the plan for when you get back to Bangkok? Tim, thank you for that, by the way. And you know what? I was looking at the replay yesterday briefly, and I remember seeing actually that comment in the previous live stream. So I apologize for not getting to it. I am down in Phuket until Thursday. Today is Tuesday, and sorry about that. Anyway, what I was saying is, I think I finished the story with my buddy giving me all the chips. To answer your question, Tim, I'm down here till Thursday. It is currently Tuesday, and my flight leaves Thursday afternoonish, and so it'll be kind of cool. Like, I can get up, I don't have to, you know, like, rush to the airport. Like, I mean, well, I didn't have to rush, but I had to get up very early to get to Suvarnabhumi, because my flight left about, well, scheduled to leave at 7:30. You know, so they boarded early, and we were out of there by like 7:20. But nonetheless, it's interesting. I really wish I knew the technical reason this like freezes up on that, because I mean, I feel my phone afterwards. If the phone's not overheating, I've got 100% battery, you know, from my on my device I'm, you know, tethered to. But I mean, again, okay, I'm around a significant amount of foliage, and you know, now the sky out over the ocean, over the sea, looks quite good. But you can't see up there maybe, but it's actually pretty gray. And I'm not a huge distance from home. But interestingly enough, if I didn't pay attention to my weather report coming here, because it told me that there would be a 60% chance of rain, a 70% chance of rain, then a 60% chance of rain, and I'm talking about the hours since about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then come about 5:30, there's a 90% chance of rain. So let me just check on what time it is. Because I may need some super chat money to buy a raincoat. No, I'm teasing. 21 of you on here, by the way, and 15 thumbs up. Thank you guys, I really appreciate it. That's awesome. So I'm down here until Thursday, and the reason is I think I mentioned maybe on one of my other videos, you know, as I travel around, my goal is to basically stay in a place until one day before I wouldn't have wanted to be there any longer. And obviously projecting the future that way is a little bit difficult. But I believe that I've gotten a paradigm down where if I arrive early Monday and I leave like mid-Thursday, I am eliminating any likelihood of people effectively from Bangkok coming and vacationing somewhere. Because, you know, in these places, I mean, this is, you know, you could argue it's a plane ride away. You know, Bangkok to Phuket, I mean. You know, but like Prachuap Khiri Khan and certainly like, you know, Cha Am, Hua Hin, you know, Pattaya, Rayong, Koh Si Chang, Koh Samet, you know, those places are all within driving distance, and reasonable driving distance from Bangkok. And so that's where, you know, the people I mean, there's a lot of people. Greater Bangkok's about 8 million people. And a lot of them are back to work. And their kids are in school. And so basically the weekends are it, you know. And so, I mean, thank goodness, you know, they have the disposable income, if you will. And again, you know, I showed you guys a website one time when we were doing a live stream. Even though when I described it the first time, my mic cut out, but it's called We Travel Together, and if you're a Thai person with a Thai ID, then you register for We Travel Together and you get a significant rebate on your traveling. So they're financially incentivized to go on vacation. The Thais are. And I don't know whether that's better or worse than the paradigm of, okay, well, let's just give all Americans cash, and with any luck, they'll do something constructive with it. I've heard that a lot of people are just taking that cash and putting it in the bank and leaving it there. A larger number too are also just saying, this is great, this is free money, I'm paying off all my credit card debt, because I can always get into credit card debt. But if I pay it off now, then there's a high likelihood that I won't have any interest payments between now and maybe when I go back to work or get a job or whatever. So that water is getting pretty close. Right there. I was like, wow, that's kind of coming up to that piece of wood. Now where I'm sitting, you know how like you can always tell where the water came up? Because the sand is like flat. The sand is like really dotted here. And so, you know what I can do? I can probably like do one of these and give you guys more of this, because I think what oh no, you know what, I'll do this, how's that? And a little bit more light, how's that? Yeah, that's kind of cool. I do want to get some ocean in there though. It's so beautiful out there, you guys. Anyway, well, I probably didn't add a whole lot of value by doing that, but regardless. There's like, I really want to stay here. I want to hang out here. But, and I'm waterproof, and all of this gear pretty much fits in the trunk, in the storage area beneath the seat. But, I don't know, I'm on the fence about the amount of water that may inundate me. But, anyway, I see your comments. Hey, King Leeway, good to see you, buddy. Thanks a lot for coming by. Hi, Mike. Loving the beach with the Cool Kids Table Nation. That's his label for our Cool Kids Table, which I really think is neat. Thank you, Ben. Having a mango smoothie while I am putting in fun work for my stream tomorrow. Thanks and for keeping me company. Laugh out loud. Absolutely. King Leeway, write down when your stream is tomorrow so the guys can cruise over there and schedule it or set a reminder. I don't know what time you'll be going live, so make sure you let everybody know. Hey King, how are you, champ? Look at that. Welcome to the Cool Kids Table. Yes, I know that BKK so much more. BKK is so much more, of course. Yeah, for sure. Todd says to Aztec for a first timer to Bangkok, it is. Yeah, it can be intense. It can be stimulation overload. For sure. Tony Cobb. Hello, Cobb. That was cool. That young boy just like wide me. I like that, man. It's respect. That's cool. It's so it's 5:12, which also means that it's getting towards like the end of the day, which means families are coming down here, and that's very common. It's very common in these beach cities. It's very common in Bermuda when Gracie and I were there. So what I don't want to do is disturb them with my outdoor voice, even though it is outdoors. Anyway. But thank you for all 25 of you and 16 thumbs up. It's kind of interesting when I do these live streams because I'll get like 1 hour, 2 hours in, and it seems like the number of people like increases pretty steadily. So anyway, I want to keep doing this, but actually, how much battery do I have left on this phone? This one's pretty efficient. Yeah, I've got 61% left on this thing, so that's pretty sweet. So I'll just keep getting the comments, I guess, until, well, I've got my umbrella, so I could just go home at like 6 kilometers an hour, like holding the thing, so whatever. King Leeway says, all good, glad to see you here. True, it is a lot. Yeah, it is. It's pretty intense for sure. But it's, look, I think honestly, within less than 10 years, Bangkok is going to be the best city in the entire world. It is literally going to be as renowned and sought after as New York City was years ago, when like that was like a really, really like there wasn't a ton of crime, and there was, it had all of this, and the Roaring 20s maybe. I don't even know when that was, but there was obviously a peak in desire to be New York City, to see New York City, to go there and to say to your friends, I've been to New York City. It's kind of like, when we were throwing parties up in Los Angeles, it's like a lot of people that gave us, the $2,000 to $5,000 for just one night. They did it because they wanted to be able to walk away and say to their buddies, dude, I've been to the Playboy Mansion, and I've seen Playboy bunnies, and I've seen Hef's house, and I've swum in the grotto. I've swam in the grotto, right? So there's like those check boxes for people. There was a time, like, oh yeah, I definitely got to New York City, or Mount Rushmore, or Las Vegas. But I tell you, I think there's going to be a huge, Paris, right? That's a hugely popular city. But man, with the infrastructure they're putting in less than 10 years, the BTS and the MRT, the red line up to Don Muang, it is just going to explode, and the infrastructure for like digital convenience. I mean, it's not like the internet's getting slower as there's more people there. Now, you know, the amount of fresh water and the sewering system, I mean, I think they're handling that, but yes, there's always talk of drought, I get that, but honestly, that's my opinion, that's Mike's opinion, and I also haven't been to, you know, I've been to Singapore, and that's an amazing city, but the cost is ridiculous. The cost of Bangkok is increasing quickly, but, you know, I don't know if it's going to get to the scale of Singapore anytime soon. I think that's a reach. Nathan says, I jumped on YouTube to show my flatmate a video and then saw that you were doing another live stream. Right on, Nathan. Hey, dude, if you haven't subscribed, I'd be honored if you would. And then right to the subscribe button, just click on the bell, and then click on all, and then that way you'll get notifications of live streams if you want to. And well, so here's the other thing too, that I always use the ties as my reference for when it's going to rain. And considering a family just got here and they set up everything, and they're not underneath the palm tree, I'm thinking, okay, it's not going to rain a lot. And he's got his fishing pole, so he's gonna like go catch some fish, which I gotta do with Gracie. She wants to go fishing so bad, and for whatever reason, I'm just like, no, maybe we'll do it tomorrow or whatever. But you know, I'm from New England, right? And we fished a lot, but I prefer to purchase rather than catch. I'm just not a fisherman, you know. King stream when Jeremy was earlier. Sorry, King, I missed. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because that's right, he had today off. So tomorrow he's not, so it'll be great for King. I was thinking about doing tomorrow morning, but I think I'm just going to release a pre-recorded video. I'd like to do another live stream with Rob, but I'd like to do a really, really long one, ideally at the beach, without having to rebuffer all the time. But whatever. I am feeling drops on me, and considering I'm under foliage and I'm feeling drops, that might be the indication that I should move on. But again, you know, that Thai family over there is sitting there, they seem pretty confident. She's using her phone outdoors. So anyway, I will get to think about to follow their lead, although well, see, they came in a car. So they're about 11 seconds away from dry. I'm about 11 kilometers away from dry. So anyway. Ron says, I think the Y will be the best way of greeting everybody in the future. Plus, it's just, I don't know, it's just so cool. It is cool. I mean, you know, I think a lot of people are doing like the fist bump or the elbow, right? But yeah, I dig the Y. I totally dig the Y. King Liwei is streaming tomorrow at 9 a.m. Thailand time, guys. And so hopefully you guys can check him out. Cruise over to his channel right now. I believe he publishes the schedule ahead of time, so you'll be able to just click on set reminder on his live stream. And you should be good. The doctor says yes. Stimulation overload is one of the great things about Thailand. Wherever you are, the sights, tastes, smells, and sounds, etc. Yeah, and again, it's not just, I mean, I'm not going to Nana anymore, right? I mean, I bring my own sand to the beach. I mean, I found Gracie. I have found my Gracie. I hope you guys find your Gracie. If you've ever heard my video series, really, of, you know, why Thailand, I've found my Thailand. I hope you guys find your Thailand. And I hope you find your Gracie, because, you know, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I am the luckiest guy in the world. And that is just, it's pretty sweet, guys. Tim says, shocked to hear that condos were already selling for 1 million USD in Bangkok some years ago now. As you might guess, this goes against my my technical expertise and expertise of having very reliable disruptions. I don't like having reliable unreliability, but I'm at the beach and I'm retired. So whatever. I'm not looking for 5 nines. As long as I get 9 5s, I'm good. But yeah, so anyway, so you get off of Sok. Oh, I'm sorry, is it Nana? Anyway, it might be Nana. I think it might be the Nana station. And there is a condo complex there, giant Q. You guys have probably seen those. There's multiple Q condos there. Minimum 30 million baht. The cheapest condo, 1 bedroom, 30 million baht. In Bangkok, in that building. And they're selling, or they were selling, and they were selling to many Chinese, as you might guess. But yeah, Aztec says he totally missed the boat. Absolutely not, dude. There's plenty of opportunity over here. Like I said, in the next 10 years. You got a decade, dude. You got a decade. And, you know, Cambodia is just like, oh my God, what a trajectory they've been on. You know, I mean, again, they're not Bangkok yet. I mean, they're not Thailand yet, you know, but let's face it. Vietnam's, you know, in the running for sure, and they've got a lot going for them. So, Caesar says, great background with that surf and all. Thanks, you are welcome, my friend. You are absolutely welcome. He sent me a great picture of basically his backyard. It looks great. And he's basically in Bangkok. He's north of Bangkok, right? Is that what you said? Yeah. Aztec says, mind you, I am seeing off some pretty central Bangkok condos, studio / one bedroom for 130 to 140,000 Aussie. Yeah, that's about right. You can get like 1.4, 1.2 million. I mean, again, it depends where you live, dude. I mean, look, if you want to live right on Sukhumvit, right on the BTS, yeah. But you know, it takes me 7 minutes to walk from my condo basically to the BTS, in the sense that I can walk to the walkover, and then another, you know, and then another 7 minutes effectively for me to walk to the stop, to the Punawiti stop. And you know, my condo's reasonably priced, very reasonably priced. You know, 48 square meters, 12,000 baht a month. And again, you know, look, I get that real estate is interesting, but I would submit to you, do a little bit more research. Take that 130,000, 140,000, 1 million, whatevers you have, and do the math on, you know, what is likely to happen in the stock market, what is likely to happen potentially with gold. You know, you could short it long time, I don't know. And then compare that to like an 8% return fantasy that you believe you're going to get in a condo in Bangkok, where you have to basically pay cash. You can't get a 30-year mortgage. It's not like, you know, flip this house. It doesn't work that way here. Aztec says, I'm thinking surely if Bangkok keeps going nuts, it'll double in price over the next 10 years. Yeah, double in price over the next 10 years. I mean, that's a pretty good guess. But you got to remember, just because something doubles in price in 10 years, that means you're getting 8% return. Dude, have you seen Amazon stock lately? I don't care if you didn't buy it in March or didn't buy it in April. If you bought it in the last 45 days, if you bought it in March, you've got a 200% return in 90 days. So, you know, to be, with all due respect to the constant gradual increase, and I'm not saying doubling your money in 10 years is lousy, don't get me wrong. But in my experience, and then you gotta be a landlord the whole time, potentially. If you get into a condotel and they guarantee you the 8% return and they're gonna be in charge of leasing it out, you know. But again, extraordinary times happen, and it's like right now, are they still paying 8%? What's your recourse if they don't? If you're an American or Australian, what are you gonna do? Ping your lawyer in Los Angeles? Hire an attorney in Bangkok and try and get your money? I mean, I'm trying, actually, I just realized I'm sounding very cynical and sarcastic, so I apologize for that. That's not where I'm going with it. I will get back to what I said initially. I invite you to look at other investment opportunities before you believe that investing in a condo in Thailand is the right way to go. How's that? 777, hey, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming by. I'm still looking for my marbles, never mind the money to go to Thailand. Yeah, absolutely, lost those, right? Next stop, Nana. Next station, Nana. Nana. It's funny, Gracie and I hear that and we laugh. The other thing that we always laugh about, is kind of like one of our little inside jokes, is mind the gap between the train and the platform. And we, like, we'll just do to each other, hashtag, mind the gap, honey, mind the gap. I love having inside jokes, you know. That's neat. Todd says I give it 5 years. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, who knows what it's gonna be like in 5 years? I'll tell you right now, dude, in the last 5 years, I was sharing this with Rob the other day, yesterday, just driving around KAMALA and from Patong all the way up to KAMALA and now over to SURIN. Dude, the amount of affluence that is here on Phuket, because it's been 5 years, it is 3x. I did not see any Mercedes when I was here 5 years ago. Occasionally, but I mean, they're passing me, cruising down the road, you know, like, and yeah, the affluence has increased here big time. And you know, well, yeah, tourism was going great, Mike. Yeah, I mean, I get everything's down right now, but you're right, man. You're right, Dorman. It might only be 5 years. Soy 11 condos, 300 USD and up for 60 square meters. So yeah. So I mean, you're right in the middle of it, man. I mean, you're talking. That is peak real estate. If you're near Phrom Phong or Asok or even Nana or Thong Lo didn't used to be, you know, big money. Gracie and I stayed there a few years ago, and it was like, okay, yeah, this is nice. It's up and coming. And then Prakanong went like totally crazy. And the next place to go bonkers is going to be Udom Suk, because Udom Suk has a connection to basically so many other places in San Diego, with like trams and all this stuff, and like, you know, free buses. And then, you know, between that and the Bang Na stop, they're building the largest mall in Southeast Asia, the Bangkok Mall. It's going to be enormous. It's 3 kilometers long. I mean, they ripped down so much. I mean, this plot of land is enormous. It is larger than this beach. I mean, it is real estate, and that's like down by Udom Suk. I mean, dude, when I first started coming to Thailand, the BTS only went down to Bering, you know, and now they're selling places at Bering for like 1.2 million baht. There's like, you know, brand new and the brand new condos here are lame. They have no porch. Effectively, the balcony is like basically where they store the outdoor units for the AC. So you can't go out there and hang out, and where they shove the washing machine. So you're like out there and you got hot air blowing on you like this as you're trying to do your laundry. We had the experience at the base, and you know, the base is already like 3 or 4 years old. Those are new condos by the Sinceri. Okay, the Sinceri, the guy that I rented our condo from for a month, he's on the board of Sinceri, and I'm like, man, you guys are everywhere. How many projects you got going? Or no, I didn't, you know, I said, oh, I can't believe Sinceri's everywhere. He's like, yeah, I know, I'm on the board. We're having a really, you know, a lot of expansion right now. I'm like, how many projects you got going? He's like, 1,500. I'm like, how do you do that? You know, and so that's pretty awesome. 300K USD, yeah, that is absolutely, give it 5 years, especially with Rona going now. You mean as in Corona? So reliably unreliable. I'm sorry, guys, but thanks for sticking around. Thank you for the 23 of you. Thank you for the 19 thumbs up. I really appreciate it. That's like totally awesome. But yeah, with everything that's going around, I completely agree with your statement, Norman. Yeah, 300K USD for, you know, that's 10 million baht, right? That's bonkers. King Lee Wei says, Mike, the only reason we would go to Nana is to go eat Korean barbecue or desserts over there. Laugh out loud. Absolutely, dude. I mean, I've seen, you know, your relationship with your girlfriend is stellar, and that's really neat. I can't wait to do a lot of like relationship videos with Gracie right here, because of course, you know, there's 6 inches of width, so she could fit here. And you know, she's only 45 kilos, so she's not ripping this thing down. It's only pum pui mai, and it's like, you know, I get the, if I wear this loosely, you can't really tell. Aztec says I would only buy one as a pad for myself, not to make money. That's probably a wise idea. If you're just like, look, I just want to have a place, then I would submit that will bring a lot less headache. But again, that's from my glasses. You know, you might be like, no, Mike, you don't know anything. I flip houses all day. I mean, like stuck in Florida, right? That guy's a house flipper, and he's like, or he's a renter. He's a landlord, and he's got rental properties, and he's doing he's very successful at it. And I that is the last thing I want to do. Well, it's one of the last things. The last thing I want to do, of course, is pick up garbage, you know, but I don't want to be a landlord. Let's just say that. Not cynical at all. I was all ears. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. That's very good. Pre-COVID, my flights to Bangkok were 200 Aussie dollars. That's a smoking deal. If I had no worries about the hotel Airbnb because I had my own pad there, even better. I get it, dude. Yeah, it's like you come here for like a long weekend. I've actually been to Bangkok for a long weekend. I came there for 4 days. I got so good at it, like going from San Diego to Los Angeles and then just hopping through Taipei, as I've shared with you guys before. I can transit through Taipei in 45 minutes, man. That is just like amazing. I am in Bangkok in less than 14 hours. After I get out of Suvarnabhumi, after I get my luggage, after I get on the airport rail link, after I get on BTS, and after I'm down near Thong Lo. 14 hours all in, and I am having 4-day weekend. And it's bonkers, but I loved it. I had a great time. And Tim says, to Aztec, great strategy as far as the travel. I completely agree with you, buddy. A lot of my commercial landlord clients really suffering now, let alone residential ones. Oh, dude, I mean, it's a disaster. What does my buddy call it? He refers to things as things that are really bad as a dumpster fire. He's like, dude, this is a dumpster fire. Yeah, Tim, where are you? That's a good question, Aztec. Oh, he's in the UK, right on. Wow, don't say Corona, Mike. Oh, come on. Look, if I'm worried about not getting monetized by saying Corona, all you guys got to do is, one of you guys just has to PayPal me like $10. Then I've covered the cost of this video. Now, I'm not relying on AdSense, let me tell you right now. I'm relying on emotional payment from doing this, from interacting with you guys, and to some degree getting some technical satisfaction out of actually doing this amidst the fact that I'm in the middle of nowhere and the damn thing keeps, the damn stream keeps dropping. But I'm still here. We're sticking it out, guys. 23 thumbs up. Look at that. Ooh, 23 watching and 23 thumbs up. I love when that happens. The OCD in me is like, oh yeah, that's good. 21 like 23 million. I forgot about that. Thanks, Giggly. You're awesome, dude. I saw that the other day. I think Joseph's starting to do that now when he throws the shotgun and he's like, oh, dude, 23 million. Caesar says I would be looking for a shop house with a drive-in garage because of my car. That's actually a really great idea. That's a stellar property, right? Because you get the bottom floor, and then you got like, you know, usually the next floor for say like kitchen. Sometimes the kitchen's on the top floor, but you know, you get a couple bedrooms. I mean, sometimes they're 4-story, dude. That's and a you know, top floor, which is basically open to everything. You can put a garden up there, do your laundry up there. Some of those shop houses are really rad. Townhouse shop houses, though, yeah. Todd says to Aztec, I noticed it in over videos over here where the people say it is cut out. Yeah. I've never heard of a condo with a real garage. It's all communal parking. Dude, okay, thank you. It froze just as I saw that. I'm like, oh my God, I better be able to reconnect this thing because I want to be able to acknowledge you. Thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate it. That's great. $10, you're my hero. 300 baht, what are you kidding me? That's a day's worth of rental on my motorbike and easily one meal for me. So, you're awesome, dude. That's great. So COVID, Corona. It's you and me, baby, kicking it with the Corona. I would love just one like soy mafias, but you can't own one like that. Yeah, for sure. Dawn says not to change the subject, but that's okay. Feel free. But what trading platform do you use, if I may? Oh, for me, I just simply use, well, I use two, Fidelity and Schwab. So I just have, you know, brokerage accounts in both of those. I have my IRA in one of them. I have a Roth IRA in one, and I just, you know, simply, I buy and sell stocks. That's really all I do. I'm very simple, and I like it that way. I tried to get into I tried to learn about shorting. I tried to learn about calls and puts, and I tried to follow Richard, and I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, I get electronics, I get IT, I get running a business, I get leadership, I get coaching, I get doing videos online, I get speaking in public, but I don't get calls and puts and shorting and margin, and I get buying and selling, and I get good results from that. So I'm like, okay, so far so good. Unless that completely goes sideways and the only way to make it is to short stuff, I guess, I don't know. Then maybe I'll have to learn that, or probably what I'll do is I'll find a guy like Richard who I trust and, you know, maybe get a second or third opinion and be like, how about I give you the opportunity to make me money and then I'll pay you a percentage of the amount of money, you know, maybe one of those, I don't know. I don't particularly like money managers though, but anyway, Dorman, thank you, my friend, I appreciate it. Tim asks, so you're still doing the coaching from Bangkok? So, I'm not doing the coaching the way I was doing the coaching. So the way I was doing the coaching before in California was, believe it or not, face-to-face. That was sort of the, one of the differences for me. Many of the other coaches that are like part of the ICF or that are ICF certified, the International Coaching Federation, they were all going online and they were priding themselves on being basically able to coach from anywhere in the world, and they would do it via Skype and they would do that thing. And, you know, and they were lowering their rates and they were increasing their numbers and that sort of thing. And I was just like, I don't know, guys, I gotta tell you, because the best results that I've seen and the quickest way to success is when I am with someone and I'm sitting across the table, if you will, from them, or at the beach or whatever, and the light comes on, and we've made it through a breakthrough, and they get it, right? And their spine straightens up, and all of a sudden, like, their self-esteem is, you know, and they're like, wait, I got a wait, no, Mike, oh my God, I've got like 5 solutions right now. Mike, give me a piece of paper. Oh my God, I gotta write this down. I'm so excited. This is gonna be great. This is gonna help my business. This is gonna help my relationship. I can't wait to share this with my son. Oh my God, my daughter's gonna be wildly successful if we do this. And while that may be entertaining, and I may have conveyed some of that via this YouTube video, you're sitting next to somebody and they get it. I mean, dude, I'm getting goosebumps right now because I'm reflecting back on one of my coaching clients that got it. She was like there, she was struggling a little bit, which of course is the biggest reward of getting it. Struggling, what am I gonna, Mike, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? This is bullshit, I don't wanna do the but here's $1,800. But if I pay you, Mike, somehow this will fix it. And I'm like, stop! Stop paying me, do some work on yourself. I can't do that from here. Additionally, my coaching clients, my coaching model was based on people that are basically, initially it was people that are in the entertainment industry that were in recovery from drugs and alcohol. And then it also expanded into people that were very visible. So it's not like the CEO of company X was you know, in the entertainment industry, but they were visible enough such that if they really do something stupid, that the stock price craters, okay? So it was like we would work with those people because people that are very visible, they have that are in recovery, they have a challenge squelching their ego, getting right-sized, being humble before they get humiliated. That's a big challenge. And so those were the people that I would work with one-on-one. So I'm not doing that coaching. I am coaching with you guys. Now again, of course, we're doing it on a broader scale and we're all hanging out at the cool kids table. And I like to think that hopefully I'm providing some value, and I gotta tell you right now, you guys are providing value to me, so thank you for being my coach. Shared coaching model, right? But then I also, you know, I have my calendar, right, that's online, and people will like, you know, book some time with me, and you know, if you want to go to like buymeasmoothie.com, there's a little thing in there where like you can like sign up. It's like $35 and we'll talk for an hour and we'll see, you know, ideally we'll talk for 1 hour and you'll be cured. Any of the questions you have, you'll have an answer to it, and you can walk away from that and say, awesome, I don't need him anymore, kind of thing. It's not the untrustworthy chiropractor model. Every chiropractor I've had has always had a lot of integrity, and they've worked on me getting out of the chiropractic office as soon as possible. But of course, there's the ones that don't have integrity, the liars, and you know, a lot of people will lump a whole bunch of chiropractors into the same bucket and be like, oh no, their goal is to like basically get you to keep coming back. I know. That's not my goal. My goal is to make you so wildly successful that you start coaching your son and your daughter and your loved ones and the rest of your entire organization, if you're in a leadership role, to the point where they're like self-managing, they're self-coaching, they desire for the next big thing. All they want to do is provide solution. They ask for help and they're not diminished by it, you know. And so I'm doing that with you guys one-on-one. And that's been really rewarding. A lot of it, as you might guess, is around how do I get here? Lately it's been, okay, I can't get here. What do you think I should do to prep for getting here based on your scenario? I mean, it's real easy to say, here's how you get to Thailand. Make sure you have all of these things. Have this ID and this phone and this thing, and get a second valid passport and get a visa in this one and then get another visa for Vietnam. There's so many things we can all go over for everybody. But it's like, yeah, but Mike, I want to do this specifically. Like, how do I hang out in this swing? Like, I've heard I can just like go to Phuket. Can I just like fly it? No. There's some certain things you do, and I highly recommend if you've never been here before and you just got through a divorce and you're still in your 40s and you feel like this big because you gave away all your money or all your autonomy or whatever. You know, there's probably some things that you might want to engage in that a lot of people might judge, but it might help you with your self-esteem if you had a little bit of manness back into your life, a little bit of oat sowing, you know, and that won't get you into trouble, but, you know, could be positive, you know, and so we talk about those specific things. Oh, Bill, good to see you, buddy. Thanks a lot. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by. What does it take to go there now? My wife and I want to travel there for a week. Is that complicated? We are in the Philippines. Well, I'll tell you what. You have a higher likelihood, Bill, of coming over here. William, sorry, of coming over here from the Philippines. However, you can't book a flight. I can tell you that the earliest flight that I can book on Cebu Pacific from the Philippines to Bangkok is January 1st of next year. At the end of the day, the world is capitalistic in the sense that you can pretty much do anything if you have enough money, okay? So if you have enough money to fast track yourself through a company that you might know and get a B visa and then get a work permit attached to that and then throw another $80,000 baht on top of that, get your wife underneath that B, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. But it's a complete pain in the ass. You're not just swinging by here to do like, you know, a couple weeks vacation. You're coming here to basically sit in a hotel, mandatory for 2 weeks. That's if you have the insurance. That's if you go through all of this stuff, go to the Thai embassy and beg them to let you go back to Thailand based on all these requirements you have. And they say, okay, you can go. But when you get there, you're in this hotel for two weeks. I'll put a link to it after I refresh this. In the description, but if you want to, go to a new vlogger. Her name is It's Thai Things. She's a Thai lady. She used to be a basically a tour guide, okay? She used to be a tour guide, but she was also a journalist. So she has a little bit of additional knowledge, let's say, of the world to be able to be an even better tour operator. Let's just say that. And so she's not doing that anymore, shocker, but she's making these videos, and one of the most recent ones on It's Thai Things. That, again, that's the name of the website. If one of you guys is like my moderator and you can throw URLs in there, if you don't mind, cruise over to like YouTube and search in It's Thai Things and take the URL from her channel and throw it in the chat if you would. I'd really appreciate that, and I'm sure the guys would too, but I'll do it later, I promise. If you're watching this on the replay, look below. It's Thai Things. She did a really great video, and as part of it, she listed all of the hotels that you basically have the choice of staying in for an entire, it's actually 16 days, because the first day you get to Thailand, that counts as day 0. The next day when you wake up, that's day 1. So now you're basically in Thailand for 2 days, and then you gotta leave, and then you gotta go through. So you're effectively staying in a hotel for 16 days. And it's not cheap. It is not cheap. I mean, again, it's gonna be you and your wife, so therefore it's the same cost whether it was just me by myself or you and your wife. But you're looking at a minimum of $1,000. And because they provide you with food, you can't leave. So there's medical care there on site if you need it. And there's food like delivered all the time. So they have a constant staff. There's more people taking care of it. They disinfect everything like crazy. And so it is a significant outlay. Then after that 2 weeks, then you can do what I do, travel in Thailand. So unless you're willing to come here for a significant amount of time, I would submit that, and by significant I mean basically 2 months, and you're gonna have to get a long stay visa anyway. You're not coming over here on a 30-day non-exempt stamp. You're not gonna be coming over here on a tourist visa. So it's a lot. If you have any specific questions on what you wanna do and all of the things you wanna lay out, this was a broad brush thing, shoot me an email, William, livemyassoff@gmail.com, and back to the question that Ron asked, am I still doing coaching? Yeah, to that degree, if you'd like my help. If you don't have a certain, and a lot of the other guys, and you'll notice too, I mean, I think you've been here before, but you'll also notice that the other guys at the Cool Kids table are also very well educated in this, and hopefully it seems like they're answering your questions too, so thank you guys. Shared coaching model, guys. I'll tell you what, collaboration, not competition. Works for me all day long. 30 of you watching, 25 thumbs up. Thank you so much. And again, Dorman, thank you for the 10 bucks, dude. That's like totally awesome. Borders are closed in Thailand, just like the Philippines. Absolutely. Welcome to the table, Viper Rufa. Yeah, hey, right on. Hey, Mike, finally catch you online. Hello from Slovenia. Thank you. I'm glad you're here, and I'm also honored that you came by and watched the other stream and your comment. Thank you. I'm glad you're here, man. Tim says, I only had one coach before, coincidentally also from San Diego. I was disappointed, didn't add any value. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. You know, I mean, I'm not saying I can help you. You know, all I would invite you to do, well, first of all, I hope you didn't waste a whole lot of money. It sounds like it probably left a bad taste in your mouth. That sucks. I get it. I'm bummed that is what happened. But the fact that you didn't think it any value, that tells me that you stayed with this person and they let you stay with this person way too long. I can tell you right now that my first interface with someone, again, it was face-to-face, but it was traditionally over dinner, and I don't really necessarily like to use this phrase because it kind of implies some degree of religion, but we basically broke bread, if you will. And believe me, I'm not religious at all. So if I'm anything, I'm Buddhist, and you could argue if you know anything about Buddhism, it's not a religion, it's a way of life. So I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, is my label for myself. And yeah, that's too bad. But I hope you got whatever sort of answer you were looking for. You're like, oh my God, turns out the best thing that ever happened to me is I hired a coach who was an idiot or who didn't mesh with me or whatever. Because again, my first meeting, like, like if we don't click and like you don't walk away saying, oh, this guy gets it, or I potentially say, look, you got a whole lot of experience blaming other people for your problems. I'll tell you what, why don't you go to this website, getyourshittogether.com, and then ping me after you've read the entire blog. Because, there's something to be said for personal accountability. A lot of people aren't ready for a coach, and I am not implying that that was you at all, Tim, trust me. But I'm bummed that's too bad, dude. Nah, that's really too bad. I know some coaches in San Diego, and I can tell you right now that I will say that 50% of the coaches that I interfaced with were shysters. And they weren't qualified, even though they got ICF certification. I do not have ICF certification. I have a master's degree in executive leadership, which is his executive master's degree modeled after the only other Master of Science in Executive Leadership in the entire country that was instantiated at the Harvard School of Government. And again, yeah, Mike, well, that worked out really good. All the government in the United States is screwed up that went to, okay, look, a grain of salt, okay? But the point is that the education that I got, because I put my time and energy into it, I would submit that that gives me more ability to listen to you. And again, after the first meeting, be like, I'm not for you. I can't do that. You need dental work. You don't need a coach. You need marriage counseling. You don't need a coach. You need a psychiatrist because you need different medications. I am not qualified to do that. I am not a physician. You need to go to a chiropractor. You have a sore I had this one client. She was amazing, super high performer. And, it won't shock you, right, that there's several people that I know, women that I know in Southern California that have gotten breast augmentation, okay? And a lot of women will do that, and it builds their self-esteem, or it makes them feel whatever it does. It does many things to many people, and you could argue as a guy, it's like, well, if I were to label you now, you are more beautiful than you were before, okay? So there's various results that come from that. And, there's nothing really sort of unhealthy about that. But sadly, this one woman that I had, her solution was to get plastic surgery continuously. So she had the implants, but then I saw her, I said, look, I can't help you, I'm not qualified. You need to seek professional, if you will, help. You need to seek professional medical help about this, because there is a deep-seated reason that you're either unable or unwilling to share with me that is the catalyst for you getting all this plastic surgery that I would submit is not a good long-term solution. And we were at this event, and she's like, hey, how you doing, Mike? Good to see you. I'm like, oh my God, how are you doing? It's great to see you too. What are you up to? And within minutes, she lifts up her arm, and she's like, oh, check this out. And she shows me this scar that she had on her arm, much like a proud mid-20s millennial would show you their cool new tattoo. She showed that to me as a badge of honor that she just got more plastic surgery. And I judged it, but my view of it, let me just say this, because maybe that's less negative than judging. But I looked at it and I said, God, I hope that makes you happy. And I really hope that it makes you sleep better at night. It makes you a better partner. It makes you a better wife. It makes you a better girlfriend. It makes you a better employee, whatever, because I just don't see that as a solution. But you do. And that's great, and you're not dying. Like, in other words, but it's like women who wear too much makeup. My label of that is that I don't believe that that's the goal for makeup. If you're wearing so much makeup that it is painfully obvious that you're wearing makeup, I don't think you're doing the makeup the right way. The way that I interpret makeup is it is supposed to accentuate the beauty and highlight the things that we determine that are beautiful about the face, and not make someone look at you and the first thing they think is, oh my God, that person is wearing too much makeup. Ideally, their judgment of you when they see you is, oh my God, that person is beautiful. Or I'm not distracted by their shiny head when I used to do video in a giant studio that had massive lights of 2,000 watts and above shining on my forehead. You know, they would put the stuff on there so I didn't have the shiny forehead. So I mean, in other words, that was the purpose of it. It wasn't so that when you watch the video back, you're like, oh my God, Mike's wearing, oh yeah, he's kind of entertaining. Look at all that makeup, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I was not qualified for that. And you know, but my point is that I set the boundary. She was more than willing to give me thousands. Because I think she believed that part of the process was as long as she paid me several $1,000s a week, that she was changing. And she may have been. Maybe the accountability for her is, like, I mean, a lot of people are like, look, I'm gonna hire a personal trainer because the only reason I'm gonna stick to my diet and stick to my exercise routine is because I'm paying this guy $1,000 a month. And if I miss my appointment with my personal trainer, that's gonna piss me off so much. But if I was only paying them $5, it's like, screw it, I'll just miss the appointment, I'll give them $5 next week. But it's like, no, I mean, okay, so I understand how like that can be a motivating factor too. There's a horse walking down the beach. When it gets here, because even if I zoomed in, you couldn't see it, but when it gets closer, I'm gonna turn the camera, and with any luck, the silly thing won't refresh, and my battery will last that long, and you guys will be able to enjoy the horse as much as I am right now, even from afar. But anyway, so that's my coaching answer. Oh boy. Viparuka says, I hope to meet you in Thailand or the PH when I would be able to fly there to the doctor. Haha, you really know where is Slovenia? Eastern Europe, I believe. Yep, Balkans. I hope to meet you too, man, every single one of you that's on here. Because I can tell you right now, if you show up here and you start being like, you know, basically weird or inappropriate, or you're asking for too much, or you're not providing value, or you're being disrespectful to the rest of the cool kids table, you guys are gonna shun that person long before I get to their comment. So therefore, the people that are in here are part of the cool kids table. And so like when you guys come over here, I mean, you just tell me where the table is, or I'll say, hey, meet me at this table, you know, and it would be an honor to meet you guys. I'm psyched for it. I am truly psyched for it. I hope we get to the point where there's like a meetup group in the major cities in Thailand, the Philippines, and Vietnam, and Cambodia. And there's meetup groups called Cool Kids Table. And like you guys are just like, oh yeah, we just go to that. Because I feel better when I leave. Like I really hope it's like gonna be that much of a, I almost said a movement, but of course if you're a doctor, you might interpret that like a bowel movement. Mike, would you focus, right? So I don't want to go down that road. I don't want to go down the colostomy bag solution. But, anyway. Dorman says there was a list of hotels that you can find on the Thai embassy page as the alternative stay quarantine. I wondered what ASQ is. Alternative stay quarantine. I think it's up to 26 now. Thank you. And the other reason why I turned you on to that video is I believe when she did the video, she did it to 28. I'm not saying that you're wrong, and but the point is that, well, she's also cool to listen to because she gives you more information than just that. But she gives the prices. I'm not sure if they go into the prices, but anyway. So King Leeway says $1,000 Thailand versus $1,800 South Korea. Same deal with food and everything for quarantine. Still rather pick Thailand, but luckily I didn't have to pay the fee in Korea. Laugh out loud. Absolutely, I totally agree with you, dude. I totally agree with you. If you're gonna have to do one, quite frankly, and where you are is not as good as either here or South Korea, then yeah, I get it. And again, no, okay, let me just be perfectly clear. $1,000 for the 2 weeks, that was the cheapest hotel. It's probably booked by now, okay? So like a lot of them are 75,000 baht, 45,000 baht, 65,000 baht, and they're talking about like minimum. Like, I mean, if you want to like get a massage, they probably got to close down the entire spa, disinfect it like crazy, give you a 2-hour massage. It probably costs $500. And then they got to disinfect the whole thing again. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak to how they're doing it, like at the Ritz-Carlton, if that's one of the. Well, the Pullman, right? The Pullman's not a cheap place, and that's one of the hotels. You know, so I mean, I'm sure you're 2,000 bucks in easy on that place. So anyway, Rudy, good to see you. Thanks a lot for coming by. If you really want to fast track, you could ask the Royals to do you a solid. Any comment on Confucius? I don't really have any comment on that, actually. It's an interesting question, but no, not that I can think of. Laugh out loud and Rudy, yeah. Caesar says, all is vanity, prosperity is wealth. Absolutely, dude, it's inner peace. Robin Cox, good to see you. Thanks a lot for coming by. Good afternoon, hope you are having a wonderful time in Phuket. Absolutely, dude. The good news is that I learned a long time ago from Stephen Covey, another interesting bald guy. I don't believe that everything that he did added value to my life, but there were nuggets that I took away. I took what I wanted and I left the rest for later. But one of the little statements that I always carry around, that I carry with me, is part of the 7 habits of highly effective people, which is carry your own weather. I carry my own weather. Yes, now to be fair, when it's cold outside, me carrying my own weather is throwing my weather in a backpack and getting my ass to somewhere where it's warm, okay? So I don't necessarily just carry awesome no matter where I am. There's some degree of environmental forces that are at work. But to your point, gratefully, a lot of the reason that I'm feeling so great here in Phuket is because I'm here seeing Rob, who's a friend of mine. I'm at beaches. And I get a lot of solution and power and rejuvenation and that sort of thing. Again, it's the absolute most luxurious white noise I've ever heard in my entire life are waves. Last night, AC on, windows wide open. They luckily had not really a screen, but they had that kind of the sheer curtains, which basically act as a screen. So I had those closed. Not one mosquito got in last night, but I was literally listening to this all night long. I mean, I'll pay 1,000 baht every night all day long for that. That's what my hotel's costing me. So 29 of you guys and 28 thumbs up. Thank you so much. That's very, very cool, man. Very, very cool. You guys think I'm still okay if I cruise way back here? I don't really, I guess I don't have to impale myself. I'm not really sure how far it goes. I mean, it's a shotgun mic, and in theory it should go back this far, but I'm not sure if it'll pick me up if it's got just kind of curious. Yep, Mike, share your vision of the cool kids table. Yeah, I mean, that's my vision, right? I mean, and again, it'll get better when you guys add yours. Me too, great idea, I'm in. All right, awesome, cool. Well, that's good. I mean, if you guys know, you guys know of the meetings that I go to for Solution. They're anonymous. One of the things that we say there is that, look, this works because it's one drunk talking to another. I can have a high success rate if I talk to someone else who's been through what I've been through. I mean, I'm not talking just about, beating alcoholism or whatever. I mean, there are support groups, right, for people that are surviving cancer. And as it turns out, people that have the highest success rate with quitting smoking talk to other ex-smokers. You don't get a whole lot of success quitting smoking if your doctor, who's never smoked a day in his life, says, well, you really need to quit smoking. Yeah, you're right. Oh my God, but I still have cravings. The doctor's like, well, I read about cravings in the Journal of You have no clue what a craving feels like. You have no clue what a craving feels like with alcohol. You have no clue what it's like to just be the most honest you've ever been in your life and say to the person you love the absolute most, I swear to you, I will never drink again. I know it's hurting you, and I know it's hurting me, and it's gonna ruin our relationship. I swear to you, I will never drink again. And then, bam, you're drinking again. And if you can't share it, if you share that with someone who's never had an alcohol problem, or basically, there's many people that have never drank. You share that with someone who's doing that, and they're like, God, that's so weird. Why would you do that? If you knew that was gonna happen, why would you drink again? Because that's how it works. And so when you and I get together at the cool kids table, then we're gonna architect, the best future we've ever envisioned. Because we're gonna have the support of each other. And then, what we do, the level of positive outcome that we're gonna get from this, guys, that you're hopefully getting now, that I get from this right now, even if it's only me. Let's just say none of you guys, let's say I'm the only guy walking away with this thing going, oh my God, I'm amazing, and everyone's like, oh no, my life is horrible, No, I'm a little bit better, I'm 1 inch better, I'm 1 inch taller, I'm 1 year younger, I feel better, whatever it is. Casual observers are going to want to be part of this thing. I'll tell you right now. So Rob and I were at the restaurant last night, and we're all this. You know, I mean, 50% of what we said, I'm sure the Thais were like, I have no clue what they're doing, but he's waving his arms in the air, and Rob's ordering more beer, so this is working out for us. They wanted to be part of it. I came back this morning and they were like, oh, so YouTube, yeah. So you have a YouTube channel? So what's it about? Like, I mean, like, how do we, you know, right? And that's what we set up, guys. That's the foundation that we set up, and then other people come in and we're not like, oh yeah, no, you can't join. We're like, no, sit down, or stand up, or wave your arms in the air, or be introverted, or be extroverted, or don't come back, or judge it and don't like it and don't go away. But if you don't like it, tell us. Don't tell somebody else. That doesn't do any good. If you like it, tell us why. If you like it, tell a friend. If you don't like it, figure out why. And tell us what you think we did wrong. And if what we did wrong was we were all appropriate and we didn't throw darts at each other's back once we turned and left, and you didn't like that, well, I'm sorry then. This isn't the world that we're designing. This isn't the bucket of awesome sauce you're gonna wake up in the morning and say, I'm so thirsty, I wanna have that stuff. You know, we design the life we want. And it starts on these live streams, my friends. Robin says, this day 1 year ago, just about at this time, I was getting on the night bus to Phuket, to Pattaya. I am missing Thailand a lot. I get it. Believe me. And again, I've referenced it before, but you know, if you go through my channel and you just type in dog died, if you're searching my channel, I did a video from the Hong Kong airport and I'm like, okay, so I'm flying home to what is a great job, to what is a great circle of friends, to what is a great solution, to what is a, you know, my income, my ability to generate revenue, help children, I mean not children, help young people, right? Because I mean that's the other beauty about working in higher education, is you're sitting there, and I used to say to all these, whenever I would end a leadership discussion, I would be like, listen, here's the deal. The best thing about every single one of you guys in this room that is better than me, I don't care how you label it, here's what's better about you than what's better about me, is all of you guys and all of you girls are young enough and naive enough to think that you can actually change the world, which means you will. So do it. And then they would leave, and then they would come back a year later and be like, Mike, I want to take your leadership class again. I'm like, why? They're like, because I want to tell all those kids, all my friends, like what I learned and what I used. What I didn't use, what I used, what I didn't use. And I'm not necessarily a better leader now, but I'm a hell of a follower. Like you should see, I'm a rock star follower, and I'm pushing everyone else up in the organization because I'm demanding more of them. So all those people that are above me on the org chart, they just keep going up in the org chart, and I'm just pushing them to success. And because of that, I'm dragging people into success too. And young enough and naive to think they're gonna change the world, which means they will. Who doesn't want to be in that environment, right? Mintos from KAMALA, I like Rob. He doesn't give a shit about trolls. He doesn't, and he's a lot better at it actually than. Actually, I'm quite good at it now. I just do the ignore.com basically. But yeah, he's gotten really good at it, and I don't know why people attack him. I mean, he's if you've ever met him, he's just such a normal guy. He's a hell of a lot less energetic and annoying, quite frankly, outdoors than I am. But anyway, gotta love Thailand. Tell you I have had 6 friends die, all 6 were alcoholics. It's not, and I'll tell you dude, it's one thing to be a drug addict, because if you die from an overdose, it's pretty immediate. If you die from alcoholism, it is slow. I'm telling you guys, I am so grateful I found drugs when I was using alcohol. I'm so grateful that I was doing drugs when I was drinking alcohol to excess. Because I cannot imagine how much longer I probably would have lasted if all I was doing was ingesting alcohol. Oh, it's brutal. And then you get a wet brain, and you get, I mean, oh, I am so, that's why I'm grateful for drugs. It brought me to my knees in 6 months. I was so done, and I still lasted another 2.5 years, barely. You know, killing myself on the installment plan, basically, and or committing suicide on the installment plan is what my buddy Joe says. And yeah, that's sad. Yeah, it happens. That's the downside to the groups that I go to is jails, institutions, or death are basically the 3 solutions you get, or you stay sober and you stay clean. or jails, institutions, or death. I mean, that is the trajectory. And, you know, I just lucked out and said, you know what, I think I'll take door number 4. Oh, you want me to do anything? Okay. Jail, institution, or death? No. I'll do everything you guys tell me to do. How's that? And a lot of people don't get that. They don't get that opportunity. The luckiest guy in the world, guys. Luckiest guy in the world. Thailand Tim says, so many vloggers these days, but not many with real intelligence. You definitely have that in abundance, Mike. Pleased to have found you. Oh my God, Tim. And just so you know, it's not my tan. I'm blushing like mad, dude. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And, you know, and again, there's something to be said for, like, you know, look, at heaven forbid and there are people that are born with Down syndrome. Well, you don't calculus your way out of having Down syndrome, sadly, you know. So, I mean, I was born with a gift of being able to deduce and have some degree of logic, and then, you know, so I'm blessed in that sense. So thank you for being a part of this. And, you know, here's why, like, if it's only you and me, Tim, at the Cool Kids table, like, here's why I submit we'll probably talk for more than 5 minutes. People don't want something in their life that they can't be a part of, that they can't potentially reflect, and they can't potentially get something out of, and they can't relate to. So if there's no other phrase more accurate than this childish one, Tim, it takes one to know one. Okay. You know, I have had people that arguably, you know, their IQ was closer to the center, and they've labeled me, oh my God, you're really intelligent, you know, kind of thing. But it's been my experience that the majority of the people that phrase it that way takes one to know one, Tim. So, thank you. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Ron says, if you want a hell of a view in Phuket, again, area, go to Ban Rim Pa. Will do, thank you. Restaurant back towards Patong. It's built on a cliff that eaves crashing over the... Good food also. You know what? Okay, so I took that ride yesterday. I know exactly where that is. It's a very large, it's a very popular place, I believe. If I'm wrong and you're like, no, Mike, it's like a mom and pop, I believe it's very large. None of the large places are open. Like none of the Sheratons or the Holiday Inn and Pang, it completely shut down. 50% of it is demolished and they're rebuilding it. And in 2 months, when like the gates open for international travel, that's not gonna be ready. I mean, the Holiday Inn in Patong is closed for at least 1 year. At least 50% of it is. And they can't open. I mean, you can't just, oh yeah, I tell you what, let's bring just 50% of the staff in. Okay, let's call 750 people and open up this weekend. I don't know where I'm staying. It's like, yeah, there's 4 of us. Well, okay, I'll tell you what, we could probably do it with 3. You know, I mean, that's how the mom and pops are just being wildly successful right now. And I love it, because I love boutique hotels. I love the little, you know, mom and pops. So, that's really good. But I believe it's large. And so it wasn't open, unfortunately. But I could probably walk around it, right, and see the view. So. And again, nice to have you here, Tim, says Aztec, long before I got to it. Long before I got to it. Waves. Aztec says, I only know one person who trolls Mike. Oh, don't tell me who it is. I don't want to know. Everyone here is glad you stopped in our live and with us living the life. Thank you. Me too. I'm pretty damn excited. Watch out, Mike, don't swing back. Oh, the little girl, that was, yeah. I was kind of hoping she would like kind of come up and do one of these. But no. She's Thai, right? So she's shy, that's her default setting. So anyway, that was kind of funny, but. Oh man, it's 6:09. I tell you what, guys, I'm gonna go because what I like to do is I like to get home before it like gets dark. And the good news is it's not raining, so the roads aren't slippery. They were like actually a little wet and slippery when I was cruising home from Patong yesterday. But I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take my $10 and I'm gonna go somewhere and I'm gonna get some cow pad guy. I'm really in the mood for some fried rice with chicken. And so I'm gonna go get some cow pad guy and I'm gonna have a Schweppes now, and that'll probably be about 150 baht. And then I'll figure out how to spend the other 150 baht tomorrow. So Dorman, thanks a lot, man. I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here. I got a ton out of it. I hope you got a ton out of it. I hope you got a little bit out of it. I hope if you didn't get anything out of it, you left and you're not gonna come back because this just isn't right for you and you figured that out in one video. Awesome. Anyway, so absolutely goodbye to all you guys. Aloha. I hope you're living the dream. It's Mike's from livemyassoff.com saying I hope you're living the dream, because if you're not living the dream, then potentially you're not carrying your own weather. Type into Google, carry your own weather, 7 habits, and just read a little bit about that. Because Stephen Covey, he's not perfect, but try and carry your own weather. And with that, live the dream. Peace.